In at 478 is the Kinks album Something Else by the Kinks, which was released in 1967, September 15th, 1967, coming out of London. This album is listed as pop, art, pop rock, psychedelic, folk, and music hall. I haven't seen music hall up there. Comes in at 36 minutes and 17 seconds. Produced by Shel Talmy in the US and some uncredited producers in the UK. This is the Kinks' fifth studio album. Kyle, what did you think?
Hey, it's Kyle. Just jumping in real quick to ask, do you approve this groove? Let us know in the comments. Give us a quick thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and join the conversation. So you just listed off like some of the genres that this is associated with, kind of like subgenres, and there was one that you didn't say that I had found that was kind of the basis of what I wanted to talk about with this album because it was so interesting to me. I kept seeing this album being referred, or the Kinks in general being referred to as Baroque pop. That perked my ears, just like okay, Baroque pop, what does that mean? So I looked into it, and that kind of encapsulates a lot of the like mid to late 60s music that I really like. The Beatles later stuff was kind of Baroque
Mm-hmm.
pop-ish. Like George Harrison's stuff after the Beatles was very Baroque pop. That song A Whiter Shade of Pale by Procol Harum, which is like regarded as one of the best songs ever written, is a Baroque pop song. And that's what I liked about this album. And once all of that kind of clicked for me, I realized why I liked this album. And that's I enjoyed the kind of melding and meshing of pop and rock music with the more traditional classical melodies that made it interesting to listen to. Like the thing that I wrote down, and I was telling my wife the other night as I was listening to it, I was like, this is like the later period Beatles stuff with less acid. Like not no acid, but
Yeah.
just a little less acid. There was a little bit of it that was silly. It was tongue in cheek. Not super. What was it? Harry Rag.
Harry Rag.
Harry Rat
Yeah.
like you can't take that song seriously, but you also can't hate
It's
it. Like it's fine. Like it's
basically
yeah.
like Yellow Submarine.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah. Like that sort of thing.
it's that style of song, yeah.
Yep. But it had some awesome songs on it. Lazy Old Sun, I really enjoyed it. It had like that kind of a psychedelic sound through the verses, but then resolves into this really, again, Baroque sounding great melodic vocal hook for like kind of the chorus section of it. And I really enjoyed that. Waterloo Sunset, the last song on the album, had, it's very classical inspired melodies. It just had this kind of, majestic orchestral sound, but not perfect. Like this was for me, a good quick juxtaposition to that Miranda Lambert album, from 2 albums ago, because it wasn't perfect. It wasn't polished. It was incredibly well written and had a lot of really interesting stuff and a lot of interesting elements, both in the sounds and the instrumentation and in the arrangements and the melody. But it wasn't perfect, and not perfect in a pleasing way, and like humans made this sort of way. But I enjoyed this. And I enjoyed this, actually. This is one I listened to I had a long drive that I took back in like October, early November. And I didn't really care for it. Like it was fine. And then I re-listened to it at home on headphones and significantly increased the score. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I was as you were talking, I was reading up on Baroque pop, and what you said makes a lot of sense. The thing that comes to mind is like you referenced that Beatles stuff, the harpsichord style stuff. Also, the subject matter. I mean, it's not really a concept album in that there's not necessarily a story that ties everything together, but these are almost like little vignettes of songs that reference specific people and tell their story.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Twin Sisters talks about kind of some jealousy between two sisters, and or maybe it's Two Sisters. I don't remember what it's called, but that one was kind of interesting. Um, Waterloo Sunset, I don't know if you saw this, is actually Rolling Stone also does a top 500 songs of all time. They have a list,
Hmm.
which something to take a look at. But Waterloo Sunset, I think it was number 14 on that list.
Wow.
I mean, it was definitely in the top 20. So I saw that having listened through this album once and nothing really catching my eye, so I gave it a couple more listens, and I don't buy it. Um, I mean, it's a nice song. I don't know. I would really need to read up on it to be able to figure out why someone thinks it is the 14th greatest song ever written. The notes from Rolling Stone on this actually say that this album was a commercial flop that almost killed the band. And similar to the Boys to Men record, I was like, oh yeah, I know the Kinks. Like they're on classic rock quite a bit, but not this album. Waterloo Sunset, I think I've heard of. It was enough that I felt like I had heard it before, but when you think of the other Kink songs that come to mind, you really got me, like stuff like that. That's just not this. Again, this is their fifth studio album, so obviously good bands love to evolve their sound and play around with things. You also mentioned I thought, having listened through most of this, I my thought was that this is definitely in the Beatles era.
Yeah.
It just definitely it just fits right in that sound, that style, that subject matter, everything like that. Um, yeah, I thought it was all right. It, like I said, it didn't draw me in specifically. There's nothing specific that I would like to go back to. Like I said, there are other singles that have come before these. I thought are way catchier songs, way poppier. So I'm not surprised to see that this album did not do great commercially. But like some albums that we've talked about already, it comes back around and is respected quite a bit. What'd you score this one?
Uh, 3.5, pushing up there a little
Point
bit.
five.
Yeah, and this was one, like I said, I think I gave it I think I gave it a 2 or a 2.5 on the first listen, and significantly increased it on a second listen.
Yeah. Um, I would probably give this a 2.5. In that I wouldn't necessarily seek it out, but I wouldn't skip some songs if they came on again. Harry Rag is funny.
Yeah.
I don't know what it means, but it's funny. So that was the Kinks. Something Else by the Kinks. In at number 478.
Hey, thanks for watching. We'd love to know what you think of this album, so let us know in the comments. Do you approve this groove? And as always, a quick thumbs up helps a lot. Subscribe so you can see all 500 albums, and we'll see you on the next record.